A few years ago, the first Shrek movie had its 20th anniversary. I did a video about it and talk about Shrek having a great legacy over the years. Then, in 2004, it finally happened. DreamWorks decided to make a sequel for Shrek. First time that's ever happened to the studio, thanks to Shrek's popularity. And since today is May 19th, Shrek 2 turned 20 years old. Just like the first Shrek movie, I am going to do a video on this one. I will say about the legacy, but I'm going to do a review on it. So, here we go. At the end of the last film, Shrek and Fiona got married, returned back from their honeymoon, and they had been invited by Fiona's parents to a royal ball to celebrate the marriage. Fiona's parents are shocked that she's an ogre, and even married an ogre. The king is not pleased with this, so he confronts an evil fairy godmother and a prince named Prince Charming, who wants to seize control by having Fiona marry him instead of Shrek. But Shrek just wants to make Fiona happy and decides to take a potion to turn him into human. It's up to Shrek to stop the fairy godmother, even Prince Charming, to marry Fiona. So before I get to the review, I should talk about the first time I saw it. As you know, I see movie trailers from VHS and DVD in my day. Then on the Cat in the Hat DVD, from this, came the Shrek 2 trailer, and my jaw dropped. I never knew Shrek was going to have a sequel. I mean, I kind of knew because of the ending, and plus Toy Story already had a sequel before this came out, so it was worth it to do a sequel. I was pretty excited to watch it, in which I did watch Shrek 2 in the theater when it came out. But yeah, this movie is awesome, ever since day one. The story is really great, probably a new improvement over the first Shrek for the setting and characters, and even a great setup. There was one part of the movie that was totally epic, but we'll get to that later. Let's start with the characters. While I did talk about Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona in the first one, I do want to mention them again. I think the romance for Shrek and Fiona is more legitimate. You can see why Shrek is willing to make her happy, but even having trouble like seeing her diary of loving Prince Charming, and even not looking his normal self. That's a pretty risky move for Shrek. So yeah, great improvement of the relationship. Donkey, on a much higher note, is more funny. Like, I know he was in the first one, but they made him a lot funnier. I like that he turns into a stallion during the transformation. So yeah, the main three are fantastic in this movie. Now I can talk about the new characters. I'll start with the one and only Puss in Boots, voiced by Antonio Banderas. This is his first debut in a Shrek movie, and man, he's a fantastic character. The first time we see the character is in the shadow and confronts the king, and then later on he was about to fight Shrek and Donkey in the forest. After that, he joins on the journey. Such a great new addition to the lineup. Then we have the villains, the fairy godmother and his son Prince Charming, which both are great, especially the fairy godmother having a pretty diabolical plan. I think the villain is a great improvement over Lord Farquaad in the first one. Don't get me wrong, I like Lord Farquaad, but his plan is not that super diabolical compared to the fairy godmothers. Fiona's parents, King Harold and Queen Lillian, are also outstanding characters, voiced by John Cleese and Julie Andrews. These two at the dinner scene are great with each other, even talking to Shrek. But yeah, great new characters in the sequel, as well as returnees like Gingy, Pinocchio, etc. The animation is better than the first one, but still great overall. I can't say much about it. Besides the characters, this is the best highlight of the whole movie, the comedy. This one has the biggest laughs, even more than the first one, surprisingly. Like, yeah, there are some really funny jokes in the first one, but in 2, they must have amped up to more jokes. A great example is at the beginning where a bunch of guards are at Shrek's swamp playing with the royal horns, but before the guy reads the message, the one guard plays Hawaii 5-0 theme with the royal horn. That is really funny. There are so many great funny moments in this. Not only that, but they throw any types of jokes, either kids jokes or adult jokes. Once you guys notice it, you can't unnotice it. I feel like the writing improved a lot more with these kind of jokes. Take this scene where the king goes to a low down bar called the Poison Apple, and that's where the villains hang out. Gosh, that's a great joke. The dinner scene is also funny, especially Shrek and the king getting angry at each other. But I want to talk about one scene that's hands down my favorite scene in the movie, and that is the climax. The climax is awesome. You have Shrek and the gang head to the castle, with this giant gingerbread man. Very creative. And then the fairy godmother sings "I Need a Hero." When I was in the theaters during the climax scene, everyone was cheering and applauding and even laughing. But yeah, it is a fantastic scene in the movie. Even the ending where the fairy godmother disappears and the king turns into a frog. And to top the end credits is the party with Donkey and Puss singing "Libera Vida Loca." But yeah, as you can see, I really do love Shrek 2. Is it better than the first film? Is it my favorite Shrek movie? Well, it is a hard answer to choose because the first two Shrek films were part of my childhood. But if I had to pick the most experience, then it has to go with the second one. I mentioned this before in a video I did called my top 5 most watched movies, and Shrek 2 being one of them. It is one of my most watched movies to this day, and probably the most animated film I watched a lot, since the other ones are not even close to watching 10 times than this one. I do want to say about the legacy a little bit of the second one. While it's not culturally impacted as the first Shrek movie, the second one did make history too. While the first one did win for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, the second one got nominated, but it lost to Pixar's The Incredibles. Interestingly, the second one has 1 point over the first Shrek movie, according to Rotten Tomatoes. The box office is a huge improvement. We're grossing at $441 million over Spider-Man 2, and it was the highest grossing anime movie at the time, before Toy Story 3, Despicable Me 2, Finding Dory, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie came along. That's pretty impressive for a Shrek sequel. And as of this year, Shrek 2 gets re-released in theaters for the 20th anniversary. Now's the chance for people to see it. But yeah, Shrek 2 is a great film overall. Great characters, great comedy, great heart, great story, great animation. I will say this right now. This was like the last time they did a great Shrek film, because the third one and fourth one were not great. And it makes Shrek 2 being the last one that truly felt right. That is all for this video. Happy 20th anniversary to Shrek 2. If you've seen the first one, you're gonna love the second one. More comedy and more characters. Next anniversary video is coming at the end of the month. I will see you all for the next video.